always have some great music to wake you up in the morning. It's 20 after 7. Thanks for staying with us on Daybreak. The Caribbean has the second highest rate of HIV worldwide, and the most effective way to prevent new HIV infections is through education and raising awareness. And that's just what the Cayman AIDS Foundation is seeking to do. Here to tell us about the Walk with the Bands initiative, a fundraising effort to support those with HIV and AIDS, Stephanie Scott, Cayman AIDS Foundation President, Vice President Stephanie, and Jensen Nunez, Cayman AIDS Foundation Director and founding member. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak. You're the first live guest we have this morning. Good to see you. Jensen, let's start with you. Talking about educational initiatives and raising awareness, what are some of the work that the Cayman AIDS Foundation is doing?
Okay, the Cayman AIDS Foundation, which is a charitable non-profit company, has over the years have worked along with the Public Health Department, Red Cross, and other service clubs to educate educate its residents about changing its behavior from high risk to low risk. We have gone out to vulnerable communities and work along with them so that they can tell us what is the problem that they're facing, so that we can then assist in trying to mitigate against the problem that they're faced with. Some of the actual initiatives we have done is AIDS awareness on the media, right. Print media, television, and radio, so that people can understand the problem that one is faced with if we don't start to reduce the spread of HIV and AIDS.
We look at these statistics, second highest in the world in the Caribbean region. We see some commercials and public service announcements on the airways, often focusing mainly on the youth.
Yeah.
Why is that the key demographic for the Cayman AIDS, not just Cayman, but region-wide?
Because globally, the people who appears to be mostly affected really is the heterosexual between the ages 25 to 39. Our statistics have shown that we have 70% of people who are HIV positive and those living in full-blown AIDS. All right, and one may sometimes believe that it's just those who are homosexuals and so forth, but the majority are heterosexuals, ages 25 to 39.
I always thought of it as this way. I totally understand that point, the age groups where you focus your initiatives to. But I also think about the older people who set the example and pave the way for them. Why don't we tailor some programs to them? Because in most cases, we tend to listen to them. Or why not involve more role models into the fight?
Agreed. I think if we can have more role models, all right. But the reason why we focus on the younger group is because they're the ones who are more vulnerable.
Numbers are so alarming.
Exactly. And the youngsters look at each other and emulate each other, all right. So when you go, you'll see that there's lots of young people who are in the nightclubs, going overseas.
Having a good time.
Having a good time, all right. Us older folks are a little bit more mature. We don't do those things anymore.
Well, I understand that totally. Stephanie, thanks for joining us this morning. We're not leaving you out of the conversation. Jensen and I getting off topic. Walk with the Bands. Tell us about this initiative. Another step to raise awareness. Another step to keep the fight going against HIV and AIDS. Tell us about what's coming up and why.
Okay, well, Walk with the Bands is a fundraising event to support persons who have HIV AIDS in Cayman. Right. And it's also to raise awareness in the community and to educate young people as well. So Walk with the Band, it's May 19th, and it's at 4:00 p.m. And it starts from Nexus Way parking lot at Camana Bay, and then we end at the public beach.
Walk with the Bands, it's an interesting name. Just explain to us, what are some of the things that we'll see?
Well, obviously you see people from different age groups, and persons who are disabled, you know, persons who are active within the Cayman's community, you know, your work colleagues, everyone else there. And in regards with the bands, we're going to have people coming out playing their musical instruments to carry us along the way. Right.
That's it, walking with the bands, having like a carnival atmosphere to raise awareness.
Exactly.
And Stephanie leads us into the next point. To have an initiative as strong as this and to see the support that the community is giving, there must be some prevalence of HIV here in Cayman. And it's not very not much is said about it. What are some of the feedback you're seeing, and what are some of the numbers that we're dealing with here in the Cayman Islands?
Since it was first diagnosed, some statistics been kept by the Public Health Department. we have about 101 cases of HIV and full-blown AIDS. I think about 36 people have passed away from full-blown AIDS. And we need to be very, we need to let the public know far more about HIV and AIDS, because it can happen to any one of us if we're not, you know, if we don't do the basic stuff like ABC, which is abstinence, being faithful to one partner, or if you're going to go out and have affairs, then, you know, try to use a condom to prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS. There's a lot of things that our people go away. There's this thing called sex tourism, all right, whereby young men, grown women go overseas, have affairs, come back home, and if you're going to be doing things like that, you need to take some sort of precaution, which would be like using a condom, which is, but the whole idea, the object is to try to get people to be faithful to one partner, you know, and young people. Well, we know that young people will not abstain.
Yeah,
so
abstinence was a try, but it failed miserably.
It's a good thing, but it don't help that much. So then the last thing is to use a condom.
But credit to those who still abstain as well, though. Credit to those who stay faithful. But as we like to say, worldwide prevention is always better than the cure, and keep up the great work. How will people get registered, Stephanie, for the
Well, they can register at the Cayman box office or at Cayman Active.
How much it cost?
The cost is CI $20 per person. It's just a donation.
Right.
And we would like to also thank our sponsors. We have Walker's, Cayman National, and we also have Gen International and Cayman 27 as well.
Oh yeah, we're sponsoring, so it's fantastic. Good, the media is jumping in to help support. Keep up the good work, keep up the fight. We'll be supporting you with Walk with the Band. So that's coming up next month, walking to raise awareness for HIV and AIDS. We take a look at the London 2012 Olympics from the news of the Summer Games. Stay tuned, more Daybreak to come right after the break.